Hello everyone, my name is Darrel Jacques, and today we will be breaking down my interview with a manager. Now, first things first, he is the CEO of Twin Trees Holdings and our guest of honor today, an experienced manager with vast knowledge in the area of finance, negotiation, managing and so on. I had the privilege to interview him on his thoughts on certain aspects under my syllabus. When asked about his role as a manager in practice, he simplified to me the basis of his job, that is to ensure the finances of the family he works for does not shrink but rather expands. This responsibility motivates him to work well with others to achieve their goals. This is the evidence of his role and position. Now, let's dive into the first part of my presentation, leadership. Edwin told me of his many years in the workforce as a leader, how his ways as one grew as he did. Early on, he lacked the skills to take on his managerial role. Naturally, his survival skills kicked in. Edwin sums up his style early on with one sentence.
What is my leadership skill now compared to what it was then? Totally different. I think then there were so many people relying on me to get us out of our pickle in Asia. And so my whole leadership was based on leading from the front with a lot of people following me.
This statement by Edwin is closely linked to authoritarian styles that sees managers focus on power and exercise sole decision-making. However,
rather than telling people what they should hear, is listening to people and then absorbing what you need to absorb to move things forward.
interactions and experience taught him to absorb from others, to let people speak and to collect information from them. This way of leading, where managers observe their teams and allow for individuals to take action for themselves, is known as the laissez-faire style. Edwin's style as a leader very clearly links him to the behavioral theory, where his effectiveness comes from his observable actions, behaviors, and responses in various situations.
You've got to stop being a supervisor to be a good leader. And so then how do you encourage people? How do you make people feel good to come to work? How do you find the right people to sit in the right slots and then make them work hard in the way that your organization needs to achieve its aims? I think that's going to be the biggest part of any leader's aims. Rather than to say, look, you guys, if you go here, you'll get it right. It's they will tell you, you will have the nose to understand that they are talking the logical step towards success and then giving them all the support.
Edwin's approach to leadership allows for others to be integrated, to participate in discussions. This practice links Edwin to participative theory, where leaders value the thoughts and talents of their team. The next part of my presentation will discuss decision-making. At the moment, two key areas discussed in my syllabus are systematic ways of thinking and intuitive. Both styles are characteristics within ourselves, however, are different approaches to problem-solving and decision-making, the former being more analytical and rational, while the latter being more spontaneous. Let's see what Ed thinks.
If you look at a scenario that you live in where you don't have an understanding of theories, systematic approaches, alternative but well thought through approaches, how are you going to be intuitive? Intuitive by nature comes from a significant amount of experience, and I'm not talking about age experience, I'm talking about activity experience, right? Failure. When I was doing the negotiations of every point, I needed to have very good knowledge for my base. But as I moved forward, I needed to be intuitive. For example, dealing with the counterparty and understanding what the counterparty was trying to achieve. When you're at the transactional phase, you tend to miss it. As you start gaining that experience and become more intuitive, you know where they're heading, way ahead, and you're able to adjust. Now that's when you start adding the big value to your organization. That's when the organization starts saying, we can't lose this person.
Lastly, we have the Pastel framework. 6 elements that sum up the landscape of a business: political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. I asked Edwin about the social element. Let's hear what he has to say.
At the end of the day, you're working with people, even though mine is now a small group because we're playing with money. Nonetheless, human interaction is the crux of any organization's strength. Unless all they, even if, say, we are going to do drain sweeping as our main business, but techniques, people's enjoyment in a tough environment, etc., will make the organization strong. It's really about the engagement. You have to recognize that human interaction in an organization must be dealt with in the right way. And therefore, the raison d'etre of working, the reason to be there must be very, very clear for the employee. And if an employee is not happy to be there and it's not competence, let's assume competence is a given. Because otherwise, if you're not competent, don't worry about the interaction towards a happy working environment. Right? So we've got a competent team. Now, how do you get that employee to want to stay with you and be productive for you?
Edwin points out the opportunity for human interaction, it being the crux of an organization that leads us to preserve the well-being of employees, customers, and so on. The challenge to that is the customization of each individual's wants and needs in a working environment. Some may need mental protection, others healthcare, or even flexible working hours. However, I trust Edwin with his approaches to find solutions to the challenges him and his organization face.
You started your sentence by saying people who work for you. That in itself is flawed. Nobody works for me. I have a lot of people work with me. They all work for the organization. True. So I think therein lies an attitude. We're sitting here in my apartment. I'm the chairman of this, what we call a management committee. Here, everywhere you walk, there's something that's stated for all residents to know. It's signed by this guy called the chairman. And I walk around the place and people say, hello, Mr. Chairman. Oh, my name's Edwin. So I think therein lies in itself people's attitudes.
My time with Edwin reassured me of my understandings in these areas of management, while adding real-world factors to my thinking. I strongly agree with his answers and his approach to leadership and decision-making. The journey of a manager to achieve their goals is recognizing the people who want to achieve it with you. After all, there is no leader if there is no team. Being adaptable in decision-making, having theories and frameworks as a core of your understanding, while experience gives you the trust in yourself, is very aligned with what I strive to be. That's all from me. Thank you, Mr. Edwin, and thank you for listening.